It's me again. Welcome to Retail is Detail. I'm your host Konstantin Schmidt, and in the first video I introduced you into the startup grind. Basically, what I would like to talk about today is threefold. First of all, I would like to talk about the biggest differences that we face in the old world, which means Europe, compared to the new world, which is America, when it comes to startup culture. The second thing that I would talk about, and please forgive me, videos are uncut because I wanted to have it raw. In life, you don't get cuts. You need to thrive through failure and succeed by understanding why you failed and also why you succeeded. So, brackets, close them. On the second part, I will really focus on the grind itself, which is basically to understand your skill sets and really go for a business, any opportunity that you have to really use that skills and build a business around those tools, and why accepting rules, or at least understanding rules, is important, and how you use your tools to disrupt those rules, because as a digital company you are probably focusing on making the world a better place through your technologies offered, and in Europe that's a different thing than in the Americas. So, and then the third part, which is really important, that's actually your own motivation, your mindset. Why are you standing up every morning, and how do you get even at that point to think about using your skill set in order to thrive, in order to help others through the digital solutions get actually to the next level. And so, let's start. First, I would just talk randomly about the difference of the startup culture. The startup culture in Europe is old. And this means when you try to think about the biggest barrier that we face in Europe, the languages, the different cultures, and I don't mean Yankee versus West Coast, I mean really deep down Italian, Spanish, French, German, English, Lithuanian, Ukrainian, that all is difference that you need to overcome through your own know-how about intercultural communication. Be just simple as that. And scaling in digital business fast means actually understanding your consumers or your customers across those different areas pretty fast, and adapt also your enterprise sales techniques to those environments. And that's hard of itself. But on a second point, in Europe the biggest difference is that companies sometimes are like over 300 years old, and when you would like to disrupt such an old economy, basically you will need to understand that the company will most likely see you as a subordinate, or at least as a service provider, even though you know that your power that you have through the know-how about like technology and how to implement it and how to maximize synergetic effects is actually much more important than the perception of the company of itself. And the reason why you are even able to disrupt such an older economy and an older business model, it is just because those companies have that kind of perception. The difference is when you are entering the stage for the sale part of your business, then you will need to acknowledge that you are always wrong and they are kind of always right. And this is the first thing that you will need to understand when you scale a business in Europe versus you scale a business in the Americas, where America itself or the US is not even that old. I mean, that's the huge difference that we face here, and that's actually a huge benefit on the other hand, because when you're looking for investment, or when you have succeeded to get into the room of such an old business and those families that own it, then you are probably the one and only that will stay in that sweet spot for quite a while. and that's the entry barrier that you're actually building yourself up to, and actually you can lower it by perhaps when you have an app store solution, integrate new companies into your own ecosystem, fortifying your presence. On the other hand, giving others still an entry through API in the old economy that you're disrupting. So it's kind of win-win for you, but also for newcomers, based on the fact that you did the work and you capitalize through an app store on their work without investing too much in it, because you always have to focus on your core consumers or customers, which are the older enterprises, and they're actually fears. That's the right word actually to it. So when you talk about this, when you talk about like disrupting an economy, disrupting old businesses that are over 200 years old, you need to understand the way people think, and more likely also how you think, how you are actually moving forward together with your partner towards a future that is favorable for everyone. And I mean, there is the point where most people will succeed or fail. It is understanding yourself, your motivation, why you do this, and also before you think about the motivation, it's the general aspects of your skill set. The skill set itself is a thing that you need to clearly point out, and there everyone has a new way to go, because you cannot really focus on what every other person did. You need to find out what are you good at by any means, and it's not actually about somebody telling you, your friend, your family, you're good at this or that. It's about you finding out the hard way, because you will learn to understand why you succeed and actually also why you fail, and by this you will evolve much faster than actually, when somebody's telling you kind of the half solution. As an entrepreneur, female or male or trans, it doesn't matter, you will face those situations and you will need to overcome them, because you are basically responsible for any decision that you make. And when you cannot really find out why you took that decision clearly, and even though when you have took that decision, whether it be right or wrong, actually explain why it went well or didn't went well. You need to understand your way to communicate, everything about you that has a direct impact on your business. And there is no right or wrong, that's the way is actually the goal. And it's hard, but it's like that. There is no definite solution to find out about it. So it might be a little bit confusing. And I just, it's a little bit confusing, but at the end it comes down to that. Motivation and mindset goes down also to the point of belief. That's the third point. I mean, at the end, I just watched a video today about hiring believers or true believers from Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment. The idea there is, you will succeed only when you have a team that believes in the common vision that you are sharing and casting out, as Patrick Bet-David said. But more important, it is actually the belief into your own skill sets, based on the motivation that's underlying, that gives the power to the skill set to actually work and then overcome and survive the difficult times, that makes you actually impregnable. And that is something that is really interesting to master. Perhaps you do it through meditation, perhaps you basically write down what you will want to leave behind after dying, when you would die in the next hour. What are the definite steps or wishes that you would like to happen. Of course, living another time or being reborn or whatever is not permitted, or having unlimited lifetime. I mean, really, what do you want to leave on this earth when you die? And that's quite an interesting question. When you put down your motivation, sometimes you will find out that actually family and friends is much more important to you than having chunks of money, or basically that you are in a business idea that is not relevant to you. I had some acquaintances who actually talked about starting a company in that area, but at the end they wished for being free for half a year and seeing the world and traveling the world and sharing experiences, and that would be a shame when somebody is wasting like 20 years of their life on a business which is actually not part of their core belief system, core motivation. And that's a huge issue to overcome. And I mean, to explain you this from the beginning to the end, what I did right now in that video is explain you, okay, that's the status quo in Europe, and why perhaps US has some advantages, or the English speaking world has advantages when it comes to startups and scaling internationally. On the other hand, I gave you at the end of this video an insight how to succeed in any way, because of the fact that you know what you're good at and you know why you're doing this, and that keeps you moving out of bed every day, and eventually you will succeed, because there is no other option than really focusing down on your life. Because when you are doing something that is actually based on the facts that you are incorporating yourself, that you're breathing, it's much easier to go forth than basically doing something that you're perhaps great at, but it's actually not part of your core belief system. That was a lot, I know, but I hope that I could share with you some insights that are helping you to get to the day-to-day struggle, and perhaps bring you personally the value that you need to go forward and launch yourself into the next venture, or into an idea stage that will lead you eventually to that point where you say, that's a business, that's a market, and I'm going for it because I solve problems that I'm really interested in solving. Thanks for your time and effort. Don't forget to click the like button, and I'm your host Konstantin Schmidt. My team and I at Kookaroo wish you the best week possible, and whether you should watch this video at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, or at midday, yours sincerely, Konstantin. I'm out, and have fun. Subscribe and like. Bye.